Now, Dynamic Discs has come out with their second mold in their Supreme line of plastic, and that is the Judge. Now, they're going back to their 4 original molds that they made in 2012, and this is another one of those. The Judge being the first putter that they ever released. And this is the putter that won them the Disc of the Year in 2012. If you didn't know, there's a little bit of disc golf trivia for you. And a big part of it was because of this like bullet shape that it had at the end of the rim here. Now, the disc that kind of made that popular and very well known was the Gateway Wizard. For the longest time, that was one of the only discs that had the beaded design with that bullet shape at the end. And that's what kind of made it known as, and still today, as one of the greatest putters like ever in the game. And then what DD did, now I don't know if this is like fact because I wasn't a part of their design team, but they pretty much took that idea and design and made it into like a shallower version of it, because the Gateway Wizard is actually pretty deep. So like if you have smaller hands, it might not be the best option for you, or might not feel the most comfortable if you don't like deep putters. But the Judge here is on the more shallow side. So it has that bullet shape that the Wizard has, but it's a little bit shallower, and because of that, it's faster. So the Judge is generally a little bit faster and a touch less stable than Wizard, generally speaking. Same with like KC Pro AVRs. Now, when I threw these though, these I had them next to some Prime Judges, and those were brand new as well. And these seemed a touch more stable when throwing them, but that, I mean, I wasn't throwing super well out there today, so it could have been that. But I feel like this was a little bit more stable than those Prime Judges. Now, I'm not a huge Judge connoisseur, so I don't really know if the Prime ones are generally less stable or generally straighter, but these were more stable than those Prime ones. You can let me know in the comments if the Prime ones are generally more straight than the classic ones, or if that's pretty representative of a lot of the classic ones as well, in which case then these Supreme ones are gonna be just more stable than the normal Judge. But it's a very nitpick thing. Like, it's not gonna be super noticeable for that. So don't get this as like an overstable Judge option. This is just like a tick more stable. Now, when throwing into headwinds, like I had a like 10 to 12 mile per hour headwind, and I threw it straight into there. And I mean, these aren't gonna hold up to very many headwinds, but then again, like there's not very many putting putters that I would trust into a headwind off the tee anyways. I mean, part of that is because I can't throw putters clean very well off of the tee, but I mean, even if you can throw these perfectly clean, I doubt that these will be able to hold into like 15 to 20 mile per hour winds when thrown hard off of a tee anyways. Now, it is technically a brand new mold because of that Supreme plastic like system they got going on. But if you look at them right next to each other, they look pretty much the same, just like the Escapes. They look like they hardly changed it at all, if they even did. They might have just gone just for the exact same thing. But in this classic Supreme plastic, it feels really, really good. So the flashing on the bottom, there's not much flashing at all. Like even the little bit that's there feels soft because this plastic feels soft. Now, it is weird because they say, Dynamic Disc says that this is the first release of their new Classic Supreme, or their second Supreme disc ever. But if you looked at the website, the Ricky Saki Bomb Slammers are in the new Classic Supreme plastic. So this is, if you have any of those, this is gonna be the same plastic. I don't think it's as stiff as that, at least the one I have. I have one of these first runs, and this thing is like rock solid. It's definitely not as stiff as that, but it's still pretty stiff. And for those of you who haven't tried this plastic, like it feels really good. So it has like a soft touch to it, but it still has a grippy feel to it, and it's pretty stiff. So it's pretty warm in this room right now, and it's still pretty generally stiff. So I would say it's on the stiffer side, so closer to like a classic plastic in terms of stiffness, but like it feels soft to the touch. It's hard to explain or show. The closest thing that I would actually compare it to would be Gateway's eraser plastic. So if, the eraser plastic with Gateway is just huge. If you're a Gateway person, like the eraser plastic for like wizards or magics or voodoos, whatever you throw, it's money, straight money. It's not the money plastic, they have money plastic as well, but the eraser plastic is really good. And that's probably the closest thing that I could compare it to. I have like an old eraser wizard and you can tell it's old because it's got the DD stamp on it. And I promise you, it's a Gateway wizard, it is not a DD judge. Like I just got that before Dynamic Disc started making discs, so they stamped their own custom stuff on it. But it feels very similar to that, like that kind of soft touch feel to it, but it's stiffer than most eraser blend wizards. Some of the eraser blends you can find are stiff, but these are like a stiffer version of that eraser blend plastic. This is the first time I've ever used the classic Supreme plastic or this type of plastic. I haven't tried the Faith or the Hope, so you can confirm or deny my findings or opinions in the comments if you have tried those. Now I can't speak exactly into the durability because I mean I've only played one small round with it and like not even the full round with these, but I will say that I mean Trilogy putters have been notorious for like getting marks on the rims a lot whenever you putt with them, and these are no different. Like I putted with them, I threw them, and they have like the marks on the side of them you can see here, but I mean they're not, it's whatever. They're not like gashing in there, and they're just marks. Just like with any other Trilogy plastic putters. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of other plastics that like show those marks just like this. It doesn't affect the flight all that much. Like they're all, I don't know. I think that's personal opinion, but these do still show those marks. If you were hoping that this would alleviate the problem or something, it's still there. But this is just a really good judge. It is, when putting with it, like I know a lot of people say like putters are putters when you're inside the circle, and I generally agree with them, but this is a beaded putter, which beaded putters, when you get inside the circle, are a little bit more stable and they don't like glide as effortlessly. For example, like a Luna, these are actually shaped very close to a Luna, except for Luna obviously doesn't have a bead. The Lunas, they almost feel effortless in terms of when you putt them like towards the edge of the circle, like 25 to 30 feet out, then they almost glide effortlessly to the basket. These won't do that. Like you have to put some effort into it to get there. And when you get to the edge of the circle, it gives more fade at the end. But these Supreme judges released today actually is at 11 o'clock Central Time. I'll leave a link in the description. Most of the judges that we have are more like a pastel color. So if that's your jam, then get in on them. They feel great. Like I'm definitely gonna be using them a lot more and seeing how I like them. But yeah, sorry I didn't have a whole lot of outdoor shots. Like it was super cold and then my phone just could not hold a charge out in the cold today. So that's why I'm inside right now. So, but yeah, I appreciate you sticking around and watching, even though I'm not like out on the course and doing that stuff. But yeah, appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.